Welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for Saturday, the 17th of December. What a race meeting it promises to be at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. Joined by Graham Hawkins on the line. We'll be previewing all 11 races, and we got some reruns for you as well for the main event, which is the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas. Graham, let's get straight into it. I think before we even start off the meeting, what a card the operators put on for Cape Town on Saturday.
Absolute fantastic day's racing, headed of course by the much talked about Hollywoodbets Guineas. It's going to be a cracker of a race, but obviously we'll get to that a little later on.
Okay, race number one is a work rider's maiden plate over 1,200 meters. And I've jotted down the betting gamma, which I'll call out, and then we'll go to your thoughts. Just the horses in single figures. Number 5, Rainbow Colors, is at 7-2. Black Egret is at 3-1. 8, Oskin Kerr is at 7-2. And then we got 11, Gimmy's Laddie at 7-2. It's quite tight at the top of the betting boards here, Graham, between these horses that are priced up 3-1 out to 7-2.
Very tight. All four appear to have chances. This is the first leg of Jackpot 1. Just a reminder to everybody, we've got 3 jackpots on the card, and the first jackpot starts at 11:30 with the first race. For me, I'm strongly in the camp of number 5, Rainbow Colors. On the Tuscan Gold form, he's certainly got the measure of Gimmy's Laddie and Orson Kerr. And then when you look at Black Egret and Gimmy's Laddie finished ahead of Black Egret when they ran behind Veldskun. So it all kind of points to Eric Sands' runner, Rainbow Colors, as being the one to be with. But all 4 of those numbers you mentioned, 5, 7, 8, and 11, have strong claims. And then for quartets, there's a bit of a whisper about the first timer, number 1, Kelp Forest, from the Adam Marcus stable, and obviously Gavin Van Sale's horse, number 2, Wiley Riley. They've got lesser chances of winning, but certainly chances of creeping their way into the frame. So I'm in the camp of Rainbow Colors.
Yep, the last time I actually worked with Graham, this horse was a scratching, and that was over slightly further, but they're keeping him over 1,200 meters, possibly the right roving banker in race number 1. We move along to Bipot 1, which is race number 2. 12:05 will be the off over 1,000 meters. Lots of unknowns in the race here, Graham. I'll just give you an idea on how they're priced up. That's the horses in single figures. Number 1, Miss Hannigan, is at 7-2. Number 6 at 11-2. 8 is the Charleston at 7-1. Royals has been back from 20-1 into 10-1. 8-1, number 10, Winter Cloud. And the other horse in single figures is number 14, Golden Pacific, at 8-1. It's 10-1 bar. This betting proudly brought to you by Hollywoodbets. Number 1, Miss Hannigan. What a return on investment, Graham, because I was at Kenilworth when this horse was bought a month prior to winning.
Unbelievable. It speaks volumes for ready-to-run sales. So comes out a month after the sale, wins the first juvenile race of the season, has had the experience, does have to give weight away now. Maybe a slightly tougher task. Maybe there's a lot more quality in this race. Very tough start to the Bipot. I really do like the positive comments emanating from the Brett Crawford stable regarding number 6, Artie Kuno, the 2-year-old chestnut daughter of Vercingetorix. There has been money around for her. So she is my hesitant first choice, but I think you've got to go wide in the Bipot, all of at least numbers 1, 6, 8, and 11. I'm expecting improvement from number 8, the Charleston. I think the step up from 800 meters or 900 meters to 1,000 meters might be a marginal step up, but the extra 100 meters will bring it a lot closer to the lead. She was finishing off a race very nicely last time out. One has to respect the money for Royals and Golden Pacific. But my short list for the Bipot would be numbers 1, Miss Hannigan, 6, Artie Kuno, 8, the Charleston, and 11, Raskova. They're also expecting a really nice run from the daughter of Lancaster Bomber. But it's a very tricky start. Include a scratching so you can get the ultimate tote favourite, and keep an eye on the betting all the way till the last possible moment, because maybe the real money hasn't started to flow yet.
You heard it from Graham there. All I can say with my association with Darlin Chinsami and Garrett, this horse, Miss Hannigan, they think that'll take a good one to beat her. And if there is a good one of the horses that are debuting, then she may just, find one better on the day, but she's absolutely flying. That's the word from the yard, number 1, Miss Hannigan. On to race number 3, the start of the place accumulator, 1240. It's over 1,000 meters. Again, we'll have a look at the betting. Lots of unknowns in the race as well. Money for number 1, Captain Arrow, 8-1 into 7-2. Number 7 at 7-2. The short price favorite, Icy Blast, number 8, is 12-10. And then all the other runners are in double figures. Is this one of the better bets on the card, Graham? Number 8, Icy Blast?
Well, I've suggested a place accumulator, as you will see later. Definitely I've banked it. I've been happy to bank it, number 8, Icy Blast, in the first leg of the place accumulator. Its promising debut was not completely unexpected. Did find market support from 14-1 into 4-1, so they were expecting a good run. We know how good Vaughan Marshall is with his babies. Speeding Bullet was not too far behind Icy Blast, but should be held. And I do, of course, respect the money for Candice Bass Robinson's son of Captain of all, Captain Arrow. You've got to respect that kind of money. But again, we'll have to wait and see how much money follows through. But I'm certainly in the camp of number 8, Icy Blast, and I'm very happy to bank Icy Blast in the opening leg of the place accumulator. I think there are a couple of very tricky races, so even in the place accumulator, bankers are going to be the name of the game.
I'm in full agreement. Icy Blast, the horse to beat. It's clear to see that all of the runners that did race on debut look well held by this individual. But as Graham mentioned, keep an eye on further money for any of the first timers. Race number 4 is the big one, a carryover of 1 million. Estimated pool is 6 million rand. It's over 1,200 meters. A maiden plate for fillies and mares will kick things off, Graham. I'll give you the betting again. That's the fancied horses. Number 3, La Pura Vida at 6-1. Number 5, Global Songstress at 7-2. Other horses in single figures. Number 11, Jazz Divas at 33-10 shot. And then this first timer for Lucinda Woodruff is priced up at 11-2, My Flower Fate. Can we narrow down our selections here, Graham, or are you suggesting wide as possible?
Well, again, from a place accumulator perspective, I've banked the first 2 legs. So in the second leg, I'm bankering number 11, Jazz Diva. She's only had the 2 starts. She's improving all the while, and I'm fully expecting her to, at the very least, run into the first 3. I'm not necessarily convinced that she is a pick 6 banker, but I'm happy to bank her in the place accumulator. Lots of respect for Gavin Vinsale's runners. They're in good form all around the country. 5, Global Songstress, brings a lot of form into the race, so you have to consider her. La Pura Vida must have scope for improvement. That's from Gareth's stable. Great Cat, a lot of improvement likely. And then I do respect the money for Lucinda Woodruff's horse, number 14, My Flower Fate. Significant jockey booking, Keegan DeMello. Touch of Grace from the Adam Marcus stable has got to go in. And there's a little bit of a fancy round for their first time as well, number 6, California Dreaming. But obviously from a pick 6 perspective, you can take the chance, leave out the first timers. And that kind of narrows it down to perhaps numbers 2, Touch of Grace, 3, La Pura Vida, 5, Global Songstress, 7, Misty Cliffs, and 11, Jazz Diva. How narrow you want to go in the opening leg of the pick 6 depends on how you're going to play the later legs. Notably, of course, race 8, the Hollywoodbets Guineas. How are you going to play that? How are you going to play the Victoria Stakes? Because perhaps those legs you can narrow down. You don't really want to go out of the first leg of the pick 6, especially with a pool of around 6 million. But my top 2 choices would be 11, Jazz Diva, from 5, Global Songstress.
I wish you were next to me, Graham. I would have shown you my book. I must have written my pick 6 numbers down 3 or 4 times here, and I just scratched everything out and I wrote field. That's the way I'm going to play the first leg of the pick 6 race number 4. As Graham mentioned, you don't want to go out the first leg. You'll ought to be running and, have a nice run for the afternoon. Race number 5 will be Jackpot 1, 1355, 5-2. It's over 60. Jackpot 2 now, race number 5 at over 1,600 meters, fillies and mares, 74 handicap. And what's happening here, because this race, the horses that are in single figures. Number 1, Jazz Bella, 6-1. Number 3, Raising Quinn, 4-1. 4, Priceless, 4-1. 5, Catalia, 7-1. 7, Broadway Girl at 6-1. 10, Call It Fate, 6-1. And 11, Desert Rose at 8 to 1. This is a wide open betting race, Graham. 4 to 1 the field.
Tough race. You said you've gone field in the first leg of the Pick Six. I was fully expecting you to say that you'd gone field in the second leg of the Pick Six and the first leg of Jackpot 2. I've included 5 numbers in the place accumulator. That's just about half the field. That's how tough I think it is. I really do like a bit of value, though. Number 5, Catalea, I think strikes as a very good each-way bet at 7 to 1. She comes out of the Western Cape Fillies Championship last time out behind Chow Balla, so she drops back to this sort of class. In her prior 2 runs, she was second to Gimmy's Lassie and Act Naturally. And I think she represents good each-way value at 7 to 1, but it's really difficult to nail your colours to the mast here. Of course, Priceless has only had 2 sprints. I think she caught her connections a bit by surprise when winning so well at Hollywoodbets Durbanville over 1,000 metres on debut. She was expected to run reasonably well in her next start over 1,200 metres. Wasn't a bad effort in her handicap debut behind Bonica. Stepping up to the 1,600 metres could be a completely different proposition. She may just be too good for this field, number 4 Priceless. Only the race will show just how good this Daughter of Dynasty is. It's wide open. I've got all of numbers 3, 4, 5, 7 and 11 in the place accumulator. It looks something of a field leg from the Pick Six perspective. For me, though, if you're looking to have a little bit of a value strike in the race, number 5 Catalea at 7 to 1, you could do worse than that.
Thanks, Graham. And as Graham mentioned, the Pick 6 and the Jackpot 1 will begin in race number 4, Jackpot 2, race number 5, and the third jackpot will be race number 8. But we now move along to race number 6. That last leg looked tricky. The previous leg looked tricky. Well, it is a start of the Pick 6. Whether you're going to try and play it wide or with the minimum spend, it's up to you. But it doesn't get easier in race number 6. It's a classified stakes over 1,000 meters. Horses in single figures, brought to you by Hollywoodbets. Number 2, She's My Captain, 11 to 2. Then we go all the way down to 11, Axel at 11 to 2. Number 12, Wordsworth at 6 to 1. 13, Jury Duty at 11 to 2. And it's 10 to 1 and better the balance. A lot of value here, Graham, if you like a horse to have a strike on the head.
Another very tough race. I've put 4 of them, numbers 2, 10, 11, 12 into the place accumulator, but you probably, to be safe, got to go a little bit wider than that in Jackpot and Pick 6 permutations. Let's start at the back end. On the evidence of their last run, not much to choose between 12 Wordsworth, 13 Jury Duty, and Greg Enion's stable has been flying, so I marginally prefer, of those two, I marginally prefer Wordsworth to overturn Jury Duty. There was only a half length between them last time. Superior Leader and Axel, they come into the picture. But if you want to take a chance, then perhaps the booking of Richard Faree to ride number 2, She's My Captain, for the Crawford Rick stable, that was a very good effort behind Country Time. And her overall form suggests that she's going to be very competitive here. So my top choice would undoubtedly be number 2, She's My Captain, to give us a good run for her money. But this is a very, very difficult classified stakes over 1,000 meters. It's got fillies, it's got colts, they're all mixed together. I'm not clever enough to be able to nail my colours to the mast here. So 2, She's My Captain would be my hesitant first choice, at least 4 going into the place accumulator, and probably a lot more into the Jackpot and Pick 6.
Well, this is one race that I'm going to be very nervous because I'm only including 2, 4, 6 runners in the Pick 6 in numerical order. 2, 10, 11, 12, 13 and 14, and hoping for the best there. Race number 7 is a
I think you might get lucky.
Yeah, I'm just going, Graham, it was costing too much. It was really costing too much. And I think, 15 runners is 15 runners. There'll be guys that will be taking a smaller percentage and going with the field, but hopefully things can work out with those 6 runners. Race number 7 is a merit-rated 92 handicap. It's over 1,000 meters. I've made my play for the day here, Graham, and this is it for me. I'm in or out in all my bets, be it the Jackpot, the place accumulator, or the Pick 6. I'll give you the betting before I declare my selection. Number 2, Luna Cam is at 11 to 2. Number 3, Red Impact at 6 to 1. 4, Sundays at 7 to 1. 5, Love in Winter at 3 to 1. 6, Bluff on Bluff is at 6 to 1. 5 to 1, it is 5 to 1, number 8, Dean Street, and it's 10 to 1 and better the balance. I know it's getting tougher for him, this 4-year-old, but Vaughan Marshall has done an outstanding job in his career thus far. Each time he just seems to raise the bar and raise his game. His last start over 1100, yes, he just hung on. It was a photo finish between himself and Chavoski, but personally I think 1,000 meters suits him much better. I've made my play here, Graham. I'm going to banker the source in all bets. Number 5, Love in Winter.
Deez, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, last week you nailed your colours to the Master Silvano's Dasher, and you were 100% on the button. I am playing to beat number 5, Love in Winter, but obviously he is the one to beat. It's getting tougher, as you say. It is possibly in his favour that he reverts back to 1,000 metres. But I'm only going to go with 4 horses. So I'm taking a chance here, as you are, but a little bit less of a chance than you are. My 4 horses are number 5, Love in Winter. I'm expecting a big run from number 6, Bluff. And Bluff has won his last 2 races over this distance. In between, there was an unplaced effort over 1,200 metres. If Dean Street can get away on terms, then watch out. But that's a big if, because he often gets left at the gates, and he needs in this 1,000-metre contest to get away on terms. And then my roughie for the race at 12-1. And that's on a direct line with the horse that you fancy, the unbeaten Love in Winter. That's number 10, Rod the Mod, who's at 12-1. Now you go back to the 1st of October. He ran second to Love in Winter. He was giving Love in Winter 8 kilograms on that occasion. And there's a big swing in his favour at the weights. I'm not saying that Love in Winter hasn't improved enough to confirm the form. But with the pull in the weights and at 12-1, I'm going to throw number 10, Rod the Mod, on the evidence of that run way back in October when he ran second to Love in Winter. So my 4 horses in the race, 5, 6, 8 and 10. Anything else wins, and my tickets will also be in the dustbin.
Well, number 10, a nice find there by Graham. If that has to arrive, you'll certainly drop tickets there. Race number 7. Graham, please stay on the line before we preview the main event, which is the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, a Group 1 over 1,600 meters. We got a few reruns for our viewers.
Left to go. Shoemaker's coming after Union Square, then East Coast. It's Union Square from Shoemaker, then Royal Victory. Union Square, but Shoemaker's still got a lead to find on Union Square's holding on gamely. And Union Square a top win. Union Square won at Shoemaker, East Coast behind that, and then came Royal Victory with behind.
That moves up on the outside of Lightspeed. Nothing more to come from Dave the King. It's Cousin Casey that puts his head in front. He takes the lead at my command from the back. Lamorne's also flying, but Cousin Casey, he shows his class in the Cape Punters Club. Cousin Casey wins it from at my command. Close behind that, between Lamorne and Port Louis. Things between himself and the rest. Charles Dickens, he's come through his stiffest test with flying colours as he rounds off a flawless prep and goes into the Guineas undefeated. Charles Dickens easy. Russian Rock in second. 55 a third.
Well, that's just to refresh our viewers' memories with those victories of classy horses. Very, very classy horses. Graham, I've been on the line with Candice Bass-Robinson, Glenn Codson, Brett Crawford, and Mike de Kock. And I urge viewers, there will be separate segments on the Gold Circle YouTube channels. You can go and listen into that. But just for you, Graham, none of them had any negative thing to say about their horses. They all were very, very happy with their preps. Mike de Kock's runners, just for the guys out there, have been there for about 10 days now. They've seen the course. He's very happy. So is Brett Crawford's, Candice Bass, and Glenn Codson. So it's all systems go with these big stables, Graham.
I was getting goosebumps just listening down the line to those commentaries again. To cut to the chase, I'm not going to try and split Charles Dickens and Cousin Casey. I'm going with both numbers 11 and 14 marginally. If you ask me which is one I prefer, well, I'll be in the camp of Cousin Casey. But clearly, what a race. What a race between these top 3-year-olds. And I can only hope there are no hard luck stories. I really hope that the race delivers the worthiest victor without any hard luck stories. The false trail is going to be close in. It's a 3-meter cutaway, so it should ensure a fair race for everybody. But the fact of the matter is Charles Dickens and Cousin Casey are drawn a little wide. At my command has cracked the inside gate, which is going to be in his favour. He can't win on form. He can't beat either Charles Dickens or Cousin Casey. But racing is not run on paper, and the fact that he's drawn in gate 1 and the form of Brett Crawford and the form of Tegan de Mello, the way he finished off his last run, you can't completely ignore at my command. And then, of course, Union Square and Shoemaker, first and second in the Johnson Workwear Ding Dongs. You never take Mike de Kock lightly, but I'm expecting the winner to come from one of Charles Dickens or Cousin Casey, and I'm margining the camp of Cousin Casey. But what a race, Dees! What a race!
Graham, I just have to pose a question to you, because this is one question that I've posed to all the trainers. And we all know that the betting is a guide for punters, it's a guide for race goers. The fixed odds betting operators, they have to put up a book. Now, Charles Dickens at 5-10, Cousin Casey at 9-2. It's then 12-1 and better, the balance. And the question I posed to these trainers was, at this stage of their careers, going into this race, is the gap that large between these horses if the betting is to be used as a guide?
I don't think so. This is racing at the very highest league. Charles Dickens, his record is flawless. I'm not trying to poke holes in his record, but the fact of the matter is, he's twice won in 7-horse fields. He's twice won in 8-horse fields. He's only once won in a 10-horse field. Those are his 5 wins to date. Now he comes into the Hollywoodbets Guineas, 2 million rand, 15 horses, drawn a bit wide. The Guineas, it's all to play for. It can be a bit of a rough race. And that's why I say I hope there are no hard luck stories. I really hope that as they come into the final 200 meters, Charles Dickens, Cousin Casey, At My Command, Shoemaker, Union Square, perhaps even Le Mans, these are the horses that are there to fight it out, and the chips are down, and may the best horse win. And so that we can say afterwards, there's no doubt now, this is the top 3-year-old in the country. It doesn't often play out that way. There's likely to be a little bit of hargy-bargy here and there. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I can never take 5-10 Charles Dickens and leave the 9-2, 5-1 Cousin Casey. And then, At My Command from the one draw, if you're going to take the 5-10 about Charles Dickens, I'd rather take the 14-10 or 15-10 a place At My Command. There's so many ways you can play. We all have different betting strategies. But at the end of the day, it does look as if the outcome from a race between Charles Dickens and Cousin Casey. But would I be totally shocked if At My Command or Union Square or Shoemaker were to win? No, I wouldn't be.
It is the main event. It is the Hollywoodbets Cape Guineas, a Group 1 over 1,600 meters, and added to the race a carryover of 250,000 rand to the quartet, that estimated pool 1 million rand. It does promise to be one of the races for the season. Race number 9, closing off the Pick 6. It's a Peninsula handicap sponsored by Highlands, a Group 2 over 1,800 meters. Graham, what's your thoughts here? I see that you like 2 horses in the bet that you've given, numbers 3 and 10.
Yeah, look, it's a tricky handicap, but we can't keep going wide. It is a grade 2 handicap. It's the Ridgemont Highlands Peninsula handicap over 1,800 meters. So from a place accumulator perspective, I was happy to row in with number 10, Somerset Morm, who's marginally my first choice ahead of Peter Muscat's very promising Dynasty and Malenzi, Yoka So those are the 2 I've included in the place accumulator. But clearly the list of potential winners doesn't end there. Healthy Respect for 5 Warrior, Healthy Respect for 16 Sylvanas Timer, for 11 Future Prince. And I think Airways Law could just possibly need the run. Hans Solo is just so game inconsistent. Who knows? Nexus could surprise. But from a place accumulator point of view, my top 2 selections, 10 Somerset Morm and 3 Malenzi Yoka. I'm going to row in here with the Richard Fareed Justin Snaith combination. They could do us a turn here.
I urge viewers to please go and listen into those interviews that were done with the respective trainers for the feature races as well. And they also gave us a few of their runners for the balance of the meeting. So in this race, both Glenn Cotson and Brett Crawford, they were quite upbeat about their chances here. And I'm glad that that Graham just touched on the runner that I think is value at 12-1, number 6, Airways Law. Move along to race number 10, 1,800 meters, the Hollywoodbet Victor Stakes. It's a Group 3. It's a small field, but the quality is certainly there. We know that Rain in Holland is out. Marina at 12-10 Graham, and 5 Chansonet at 14-10. The only other horse in single figures, number 3 Silver Darling at 5-1. The balance are all in double figures. Marina versus Chansonet. Can you split them?
Not really. I'd be marginally in the camp of Marina ahead of Chancellor. That's basically the form as it was in their last run behind Make It Snappy. But clearly Chancellor is brilliant and could overturn Marina. And they're not too far behind them with Silver Darling. We mustn't forget that she was a Grade 1 winner as a 3-year-old last season, then ran a promising third behind She's a Keeper in the Garden Province Stakes. And in that race, interestingly, Marina was second. So strictly on form, Marina should have the beating of Silver Darling. If you're really tight and you want to take a gamble in the jackpot, this would be part of the last jackpot, jackpot 3, and you want to load up other legs, then you could bank a number 4, Marina. That would be my top choice. But clearly the obvious thing to do is to include at least numbers 4, Marina, and 5, Chancellor, and then perhaps consider including number 3, Silver Darling, as well, just in case the daughter of Silvano overturns the top 2 in the betting, which with the Richard Fourie, Justin Snaith combination is always a potential. I would throw in number 1, Rain in Holland. If you're going to play that wide, if you're going to include all 3, include Rain in Holland, the scratching, so that at least you double up if the favourite arrives. But Marina would be my top choice.
Yeah, a massive day for Hollywoodbets, also sponsoring the Victor Stakes Group C over 1,800 meters. And then on to the lucky last over 1,600 meters. A meritorious 90 handicap. Give you the horses that are in single figures, Graham, from Hollywoodbets. Number 2, Triple Time, is at 7-1. 3, Future Swing at 5-1. 4, Runaway Song at 7-2. 5, Sugar Mountain at 7-2. 6, Lion's Head at 6-1. 8-1 numbers 8 and 9. Very tight. Bookmakers are not taking chances here, having these horses so close in the betting. Graham, I've got to play here in the lucky last, and usually is when we need it most. Or maybe you got a sizable...
Before you share the play, Dees, let me just bring you up to speed, because I think while you were busy recording the on-the-line interviews with those 4 trainers, and I'm really looking forward to going to listen to them, number 5, Sugar Mountain, is now a scratching. Came out late this morning, was my first choice initially. Number 5, Sugar Mountain, is a scratching. So I don't know how that affects your play.
Oh, that gives me more confidence. Thank you for that. Graham Hawkins on the money here. On the money. I'm just eliminating one of the dangers. The runner I like here, Graham, is number 3, Future Swing, Justin Snaith's 3-year-old. And, the run that I was looking at where the horse was poorly drawn and had the beating of Sugar Mountain. But the fact remains that this horse is formless, number 1. But I'm just going to take a stance and say this horse is going to achieve much higher than an 85 in his career on what I've seen to date. So carrying this low weight, where he's receiving weight from all these older horses, I'm going to make him hard to beat, Graham.
Well, we're now absolutely on the same page. I love it when we disagree, but I equally love it when we're on the same page, because now in the absence of Sugar Mountain, certainly as far as Jackpot 3 is concerned, I'm going to row in with number 3, Future Swing. I'm going to make him my banker play in the last leg of Jackpot 3, and also my banker in the final. We've got 2 bipots, so the second bipot runs all the way through to the end of the meeting. So I'm going to be with you. I'm going to go with number 3, Future Swing.
That's the way to end it off. Well, obviously, there's going to be adjustments now after Graham giving us the scratching of number 5, Sugar Mountain. The horse was 5-1. Sugar Mountain was 7-2. We'll see the adjustments being made there, but still remains our top choice on the Gallop TV show. And to end off the day on a high, number 3, Future Swing. Graham, you've given a bipot for the race meeting. You want to go through your numbers?
It's a place accumulator.
Oh, place accumulator. Place accumulator. Let's go for it.
Number 8. That is banker number 8, Icy Blast. Second leg, banker number 11. And that is, what's her name now? Jazz Diva. Thereafter, I go pretty wide. Third leg, numbers 3, 4, 5, 7, 11. Fourth leg, numbers 2, 10, 11, 12. Then 5, 6, 8, and 10. In the Hollywoodbets Guineas, I'm going to include both numbers 11 and 14, most likely double up, rather than try and choose one to banker. And then numbers 3 and 10, Malenzi, Yokadaduma, and Somerset Morm to get me through the last leg. So that's my suggested place accumulator. My value play for the day, race 5, number 5, Catalea, 7-1, I think, are attractive odds. Each way play for me.
Thank you, Graham. A big thank you for your time and previewing all 11 races, and all the best.
Thank you, Dees. Go well, eh?
Thank you to Graham Hawkins, and on behalf of the Gallop TV team, I trust that you're going to have a wonderful day punting at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. It promises to be one of the race meetings of the year from the entire team and myself, Dees Dana, and on behalf of Graham Hawkins, until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.